Support among Democratic lawmakers is growing for Vice President Kamala Harris in her 2024 presidential bid. Over two-thirds of Democrats in both the House and the Senate have backed her. Meanwhile, the Democratic National Convention is less than a month away. CBS News estimates that Harris has received the endorsement of a majority of Democratic delegates. She got a recent boost from Missouri Congressman Emanuel Cleaver. He's the former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, and he is joining us now. Congressman, thank you so much for taking some time out to talk to us. As you know, it is crunch time, not a lot of time before the convention and not a lot of time before the election. Following the first presidential debate, you said in an interview that if we are not organized and ready to go with Joe Biden or someone by the end of the Republican convention, I think we're in trouble. So it looks like you have that someone. What has to take place, though, in the time period between now and November to make sure that voters know who Kamala Harris is and what her vision of America is?
Well, the good news for the Democratic ticket is that we have an energetic young woman running for president, and her energy seems to be limitless, and she is out all over this country, and she's raising money. I'm raising a lot of money. And two things, if I had been on the other side in the other campaign, the most frightening thing in the world that just happened in the last couple of days are these women, older women, taking out these little coin purses and getting their money out to send to Vice President Harris. That is dangerous. I've seen it over the years. That means that we have a whole lot of excitement out here. And optimism is the opium for this campaign. And we have truckloads of optimism. I mean, people are now excited. I had no idea that the excitement level would rise so quickly and it would be sustained as it has. And I think she is going to inspire others to get out and get involved in the campaign. We're getting an avalanche of phone calls. What can I do? Can I volunteer here? Can I send money there and so forth? So she has to continue to do what she's doing. Vice President Biden is not going to be on the campaign trail. He'll be running things at the White House and continuing to be an absolutely amazing human being and one of the most selfless people I've ever known.
It does remind me an awful lot of when Barack Obama was running, and you had the mamas for Obama, and they were indeed quite a force. We know that just the other day, Kamala Harris had, I think, 40,000 black women on a phone call. Last night, it was 20,000 black men. But I do want to ask you about that. The last time she ran, you know, her history as a prosecutor was raised. That perhaps because of this history, she would be less appealing, in particular, to black male voters. Were you on that that 20,000 person call last night?
No, I was not. I'm kind of recovering from COVID.
Oh, wow.
Isolated. Yes. So I was not on the call.
I'll tell you.
However, I do think that we're going to have African-American men supporting her at a tremendous level. I think for those who were saying that some black male voters were being siphoned off, and they were, I don't know how much, but they were being siphoned off. But I think now they've come home, and I think we're going to see African-American men, African-American women, and the overall community across the country is going to come out strongly for Kamala Harris. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but my goodness, I underestimated the response from the American public. And I think we're going to find some of the people who are in that middle who didn't want to vote for either of those candidates now coming over to Harris, because she is, you can't say, well, she's not concerned about law and order. Her whole adult career proves the opposite. You can't say that she is a sucker for some kind of liberal justice system, whatever that means. I think she's put people in jail. She's locked up people who deserve to go to jail. And I think we'll have somebody in office now who can lead the country into a new direction. Now, crime is actually dropping in the country, in spite of what some people are trying to get people to believe. But we still need to address it. And she is probably in a key position to do it. She's been the DA in San Francisco and the Attorney General in California. And she understands the whole justice system. And she wants to put bad guys in jail. And every African-American man that I know agrees with that.
Really quickly, Congressman, before we let you go, who does she need as a VP?
She needs a very articulate guy who can stand up and give a good defense of her positions. There are a lot of governors that I like. Pritzker from Illinois would be just one, but any of those guys would be absolutely amazing in the vice president's chair. So I don't want to get in it over her, but I think she's already, I think, reaching out to a number of people, measuring their interests and also kind of making sure that they're the right person.
You said any of those guys. Just want to point out to everyone the one female name that was floated, Governor Whitmer. She said she's not interested in the job, and so now kind of the top tier that's left, they are all men. Congressman Cleaver, thank you so much.
Good to be with you.